Okay, it looks like my Bluetooth mic might have dropped off during the end of that last recording. Sorry about that. So you might not have been able to hear everything. I'm not right at my phone and it's on the tripod. I can't control everything. And when I get all the way across there, theoretically Bluetooth has a 33-foot transmission limit. I might be breaking lock on my earbud. Good girl. So while I was out, Stryker's magnetism was overwhelming, and she went over to stand with him. And as soon as I bring my focus back on her, she goes, okay. So she cares about me. Yay. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So, 7 words. Common language. This horse has been trained. So theoretically, she knows those 7 words, but not everybody thinks the way I think. I've met horses that don't know how to back, that don't know their shoulders very well, and they have go. Their stop might not even be very good, and they probably don't have any real control over the rear end legs or the front legs. That's just, I'm a bit of a purist. I think you had to teach horse foundation before you press on. Good girl. I'm also particular how I put a bridle on a horse, but we won't get into that this time. But I do have standards. Number 1, the horse's head ought to be tilted toward me. Number 2, ears ought to be down at a reasonable level that's comfortable for me. Right there. That is a perfect position for me. I like to have to bend over, and she knows what she's doing. I don't even have to tell her to open her mouth for the bit. What a good horse. So somebody put some good time on this horse. Now it's way too long. So I always want to put the bit on with it too long. So I'm not making them uncomfortable when I'm putting the bit in. And determine how tight it goes. This is what I do. I feel the cheek pieces and the amount of tension that's running through her mouth over her poll. Wrinkles or number of wrinkles in the mouth. Something you teach little girls that you can't explain physics and how a horse feels. Something wrapped around their head. Okay, so I'm on next to the last hole. And I am happy with the tightness. She's holding the bit up in her mouth, nicely on her own. I'll take that. Seven words. If you teach your horse the 7 words, there is nothing you can't ask your horse to do. You can orient in any direction you want and move it in any other direction. Of course, the first word is probably go, although I like to use back as the first word because I'm standing in front of the horse. So I should be able to pick up one rein right here and put pressure on it, and she ought to back. She did. That's the first word. She understands that word. Yay! She's licking and chewing. She's actually yawning. So she's releasing anxiety. I think she'd rather be ridden than have the rest of the stuff we've been doing. That's what she's telling me, I think. Okay. Second word. Go. Now, I can't do what I do in the saddle, which is apply my legs. So I teach all horses that work with me, if I put pressure right there on your hip, it means go. It's pressure behind the drive line, which is at the midpoint of the horse. So, the horse ought to go. Like that. That's the second word. Go. It needs to be improved because she gets to obstacles and balks. And the rider says go, and she says no. I noticed this. I picked her up in my trailer from home to bring her here. And when I asked her to get in the trailer, she turned and looked at me and said no. And it's the same thing that she does out on the trail. And it's because she was thinking about herself and doesn't give a rat's ass what the rider wants or the handler wants. Okay, so back, first word, second word, go, third word, stop. I should be able to pick up my left hand, apply gentle pressure, and the horse should stop. Now I want 3 components of a stop, not just one. The feet should stop, they should soften from nose to tail, and they should back. When they do all 3 of those things, I let go of the reins and quit asking for the stop. She's pretty darn good. She's not hard in the face. She's actually soft. So good on you, the riders that have trained her and ridden her to not be in her mouth. Good. Yes, Jill, good job riding this horse. Okay, so that's 3 of the 7 words that you need with your horse. Go, stop, back. Pretty simple. I'm going to practice the stop one more time because there's the 3 components. I want to make sure she's going to give me all 3 in the saddle. That is stop your feet, soften, and back. Beautiful. Beautiful. 4 words left, and the horse has 4 feet. You should have a word, a physical word, where you can use your legs, your seat, your hands, your weight. I don't care which one of those things you use. You should use all 4 at the same time. And assign body actions to feet. Left front foot, direct rein. When this rein goes straight back, at where my hip would be in the saddle, that means left front foot. Okay, also, if I were in the saddle, my other leg, in this case it would be my right leg, would come half an inch forward and close. When I do that, I want that left shoulder to leave. Okay, that's my leg command. My seat command is for the hips. There is no seat command from me for legs, for shoulders. I got either hands or legs or weight for the shoulders. If I add weight to my left stirrup, horse ought to come left. So we need her to move. Matter of fact, you can come with me. I don't care. I was going to tell her to stand. But I need to desensitize her to a dressage whip. She's going to have great exception to it, especially if I use it for the first time on the trail. When she balks at a creek and I start using it on her, she's going to want to blow up and buck, get real personal about it, instead of responding to it as an aid. And you can see how she feels about it already. Head comes up, she gets all emotional. And yet this is the same, she should feel the same way about this as she does with my hand. I'm going to start on the near side here. So obviously she needs to be sensitive to the whip, which means if I pull it out and have to use it, she'd better respond to it. However, the first thing I want to do before I sensitize her for what I want it to mean to her, I need to desensitize her to it. Not unlike a flag, a trainer's flag. Step 1, desensitize the horse so they're not afraid of it and can be touched all over without having any feelings. She doesn't like it on her undercarriage. She's protective of her legs and undercarriage. Okay, and I bet when I get back here, oh, nice. Nice. Very nice. Good job. Good girl. Okay, offside might be harder. Horses don't get as much training on their left brain, which is responsible for their offside or their right side of their body. Her head came up a tiny bit. She's emotional about this. She does not like it, but it's not that bad because I already got her used to it on the other side, so it's not that bad. She quickly accepted it. Good girl. Okay, undercarriage. Of course, at the beginning, I had to actually have my hands on the reins, tell her to stand there and stop. And once she's figured out my intention, which is to just rubber with it, she's going, oh, that's all you're going to do. I'm okay with that. Nice. She's a little worried as I get back here. I'm going to start on her near leg, which I already did. And I'm going to get a little sloppy in there. Touch her outside leg, this leg, which is the offside leg. Then I'm just going to go to town on it. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so she's kind of temporarily desensitized to it, but now I want to use it to ask her to go forward. And I want to be able to use it if I need to assertively, like if she balks at something and I need to tell her with it to go, and she needs to do it without being afraid of it. So I'm going to ask her to go forward by tapping her. I should start on this side so y'all can see this. I'm going to initially just rhythmically tap, 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 tap. Because she's so sensitive in her rear end, she immediately responds. And you can see her reaction. Yawned, licking, and chewing. Just 2 taps on her rear with that caused her anxiety. It's okay. No worries. Okay, let's do it some more. So sensitizing her to it is kind of something you don't have to do because she's already so sensitive back there. Okay, right now I'm going to use, to ask her to stop, I'm going to use a 1 rein stop, which is the same command as when I want your right rear foot. This is the command I'm going to use. It's called a indirect rein, and the tension of the rein backward is across the saddle toward the opposite hip on your other side. So if I'm on the horse, this is a direct rein, which it means a shoulder. This is an indirect rein, which means hip. Hip yield. Hip yield. Shoulder yield. Shoulder, hip. Okay? You're okay. Okay. You can see she's so sensitive on the back end. That took nothing. Wonder what it'd be like to be at a creek that she doesn't want to cross and tap her with a whip. I got a funny feeling she'd complain a lot. Okay, so I'm going to do the same 1 rein stop or disengagement. Either of those terms work. Turn on the forehand is another term that you could use, but this is the command for the left hip. Indirect rein. She knows those. So you have an education. This is the first time I put a bit in her mouth. If you watch the other 2 videos series, you know. So I wasn't positive how good her education was. I'm now going to work on the left shoulder word. It's a direct rein. When I use it, I want this left foot to step toward me like that. Like that. You might have to zoom in. I don't know if you can do that on YouTube. But that foot, I'm pulsing my hand in time with the movement of her left front foot. There, there, there. I'm waiting. She's got all of her weight on it. There, there, there. And then I'm going to switch from shoulder work to the hip. Right there. I'm being deliberately assertive. And it's to make a point with her. And the point is, in the past, you've blown humans off when they told you to do things. That's not going to work for me. Master servant, if I tell you to take one step forward, I don't care what's in front of you. You have the right to turn to me and go express your opinion and say, boss, I don't think that's safe. And I'll listen to you and I'll go, huh. If I have to, I'll get off the horse and make sure it's safe. Because they might be right. At least twice in my life, I've had my horse turn and look back at me and say, boss, I'm not taking the step you asked me for because that's not safe. And they were right. And I listened to them both times. The horse had saved me in both cases. A lot of trouble. But, so she has the right to express an opinion, and I have the right to evaluate her opinion until I say, I think it's safe, do it. And I don't mind if she's careful when she does it, but she sure as hell better try. There, good effort. Good effort. So I'm going to spank her a little bit with this dressage whip, even when she doesn't deserve it, because she has an anger issue. And you don't have the right to be angry and display anger to your master. You can get angry. I just don't want to hear about it. It's one thing to have feelings. It's another thing to act on your feelings. I've been mad at a lot of people, especially at horse shows, for their treatment of their horse. If I acted out on it, probably would have shot a couple of them. They shouldn't have been anywhere near a horse. I shouldn't have said that in public. So you can see how much she's struggling with the whip on her offside. She actually wants to kick me, but my hands on the reins are going to prevent that. Excuse me. And hope. Grab a hold of yourself. Good. Good. That was good, grabbing the hold. Good. Good. Yes. Such strong feelings. There's a huge yawn. This is really hard for this horse. Oops, my video's probably been running a long time. Okay, mini break. You can come with me, come on. Mini break. I thought this was going to be a shorter session than this, but nope. Nope, sorry. $18